Chapter 4 was mainly focused on narrative. Now, according to Looking at Movies, narrative is the story that is being told. Now, that is done through narration, which is simply the act of telling a story. Now, there is also a narrator, and the narrator is who or what tells the story. It could be a person, or it could simply just be the camera. Now, today we will be comparing two short films that were watched in class, but before we get to that, there are several key concepts that we must know about the narrative and storytelling in general. Two of the biggest concepts in storytelling is the use of diegetic elements and non-diegetic elements. According to Looking at Movies, the elements that make up everything of the world are diegetic elements. This can be stuff we see, stuff we hear, that also the characters within the film and the world can also see and hear. Non-diegetic elements are the things we see and hear on screen that come from outside the world, such as like the music score or titles or credits or even voice-over commentary that the characters within the world cannot see. There is also story duration, which is the amount of time that the implied story takes to occur. But the plot duration is the elapsed time of those events within the story that the film explicitly presents. And then the screen duration is the movie's running time on screen. So a screen duration could simply be a 15-minute short film where the actual duration of what is going on could be several weeks, several months, or even years. And then finally, another huge concept within storytelling is repetition, which is the number of times that a story element recurs in a plot. Stuff can be repeated over and over within the plot, and this is usually done for a specific reason. And then there's also the order of the plot, which can be rearranged and separated to tell a story in a different and unique way. Bartholomew's Song is a very interesting short film, as it follows a single character named Bartholomew as he goes through his normal day routine. There's several different aspects within this short film that cover the different elements of narration that we previously just discussed. There is no music score within this movie at all. According to YouTube user Tia Runyon, Bartholomew's Song uses mostly diegetic elements, which is, once again, where we see what the character can see, and what we hear, the character can hear as well. Bartholomew's Song also, according to YouTube user Stephanie Ray, uses lots of repetition throughout. Example of that would be the cutting the block scene, where he continues to cut the block and throw it and dispose it away. There's also the walking to and from work that constantly happens. According to her, repetition is used to impact the film's climax. So there's several different aspects of the movie that use all the different narration elements that we previously discussed. Death to the Tin Man follows a reckless young man, and it uses first-person narration. According to YouTube user Tia Runyon, Death to the Tin Man has non-diegetic elements. There's all this voiceover, there's music being played, titles being shown, stuff that the characters can't see, but stuff that we can see. And also what I've noticed in the movie as well is there's still lots of repetition being used. It continues to show the scene of him trying to fly and continuing to hurt himself and lose limbs, and several uses of repetition are used within this film as well. Both films are about rebels in a repressive society, and both seem to be questioning their society in every single way. Now, there were several different key differences, which were Bartholomew's Song using mostly diegetic, and Death to the Tin Man using non-diegetic elements. Both use repetition, though, and both followed characters that questioned their realities and were rebelling against the society that they were within. Both of these films did a very good job of demonstrating the unique elements of a narrative and showed very different ways of storytelling and demonstrated them very well throughout their films. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed.